Welcome to Roy High School for this edition of High School Rewind, available only on Xfinity On Demand as the Roy Royals prepare to host the Layton Lancers in a non-region battle. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Dane Stewart here to bring you tonight's game, and we've got a doozy of a matchup for you here tonight. Let's start with the visiting Layton Lancers. This is their final non-region contest of the season. They come in 7-3 overall, coming off a 61-52 victory over the Hunter Wolverines, and it was Jerice Blackman who he had a fantastic game. 22 points and 9 rebounds for the Lancers in that win. Those sound like lofty numbers for the Lancers, and that they are. He's been doing that all season long. Leads them in scoring with nearly 18 points per game and nearly 12 rebounds per game. That is good for tops in all of 5A. This guy carries Windex in his shoes night in and night out. He's got a great supporting cast around him, including Mike Hibbert, the big 6'9" center for the Lancers. He's averaging over 14 points per game and 7 boards himself. Meanwhile, they have good shooters through the Lancers, including Brandon Hill and Malcolm Petty. Both these two can score at any point. In fact, in a game earlier this year on High School Rewind, Hill was a defensive stopper against the Bountiful Braves, and he added some mighty impactful points for the Layton Lancers in a game in which they lost in the final seconds to Bountiful. But they were very competitive with that top 4A team, and it'll be fun to see how they match up with this top 4 team, that top 4A team, that being the Roy Royals, who come in 6-2 overall. They're coming off of a very tough loss to the Davis Darts, a game in which they trailed by 20 points in the second half, but behind Burkott Chapman and the rest of these Royals came back, had a shot to tie it with 14 seconds left by Chapman. That drew iron, and they would end up falling to the Davis Darts. Final score was 63-62. Mentioned Chapman had, he led the way. He had 24 points in that ball game for Roy. Had a couple players help chip in that losing effort, including, it was DeBoer, who had 10 points, and Nalder with 11. Speaking of Chase DeBoer, second on the team in scoring, averaging over 14 points per game. And then another name to watch for here today is Blake Lamb. He's also in double figures with 12 points per game and 7 boards per game. This is a good supporting cast that Burkott Chapman has. He gets a lot of credit, and rightfully so. A very talented player. He leads them in points, rebounds, assists, and steals. He is the Swiss Army knife of Utah Prep basketball, as he can do it all. But he's got a lot of talent around him, including Lamb and DeBoer, as well as Cody Hobbs. Look for the supporting cast to be big tonight for Roy. Whichever of these two squads, you have a feeling that Blackman and Chapman are both going to get theirs tonight. Whichever supporting squad is more supportive, that team stands a great chance of pulling off the victory here tonight. The final non-region contest for the Layton Lancers. Roy has one more tomorrow, but this is surely going to be against a more competitive team and a much better preparation game with region play right around the corner. With that introduction now, let's send you down to the center circle for tonight's opening tip. Ready to tip things off here between the Royals and the Lancers. Roy in their home white with neon piping, and the Lancers in their road blue. As this tip eventually controlled by Roy and Dakota Nalder. This is Chase DeBoer. Talked about him in the open, number 22. He's running the point now. In the offense, here's Blake Lamb. Over to Nate Jones. Jones going to put it on the floor. No one switched, and then Jones just missed it. Lamb with the rebound, goes back up, and Blake Lamb has the first bucket of the game for Roy. Nice job by Lamb, getting good positioning for the board. And the putback is now, this is Malcolm Petty. Over to Hibbert for 3. That shot missed and rebounded by Lamb, his second of the game already. Quickly up the floor to Jones, has a lane, count the bucket, and going to the free throw line will be Nate Jones after the timeout. Foul was called on Brandon Hill, his first. Nate Jones to the line to try for the 3-point play. And he gets it. 5-0, the advantage for Roy. Ball finds its way to Brandon Hill, now up top with Jerice Blackman. Hibbert working in the post, was being defended by Jones, and that pass too tall for Mike Hibbert. Boy, all alone is Lamb on the baseline with a strong take, and Burkott Chapman did a nice job of screening off Hibbert, allowed the lane for Lamb to get to the hoop, and a really good start for Roy. Here's Jerice Blackman going to pull it from just inside the arc. That shot no good. Rebound is for Dakota Nalder, who brings it up the floor for Roy. Over to Chapman now. He's going to fire his first shot of the game. Missed that one. Hibbert on the box out, able to gather in the rebound, is now pushing it the other way. Will be Malcolm Petty looking to drive and take advantage. That shot was blocked. How about Chase DeBoer, the 6'3 senior guard, coming up with the block as Chapman couldn't bring it in. Look out. Oh, and that time Blackman, he went down on the floor, did not get good lift, was awkward on the jump, and he is down and hurt. Jerice able to walk off under his own power. Good sign there. Is coming in for him will be Julian Blackman, the 6-foot sophomore guard. It's pretty easy to see that Blackman did not launch like he usually would be able to. Is working in the post here is Nate Jones, able to go glass. And a 9-0 lead and no points for Roy's leading scorer, Chapman. Here's Hibbert. That ball is blocked by Nate Jones, and now numbers the other way for Roy. The oop to Brecken Chapman, and that one rolled off the rim, and then a cheapo foul here called on Blake Lamb. Two and a half minutes into this ball game, and a 9-0 lead for the home team. Jerice Blackman on the bench trying to get things settled. What a nice take there by Austin Hatch for Layton, the 6'2 senior forward. Gets the first points of the game for the Lancers. The drive by DeBoer was cut off. Now the ball finds its way to Nalder, and we're going to have a foul here called on Julian Blackman. Chase DeBoer with it now. Holding. Over to Nalder. Zone defense by the Lancers. That one stripped away by Hill, and it is out off of him. Talked about Hill on our open. 6'4 senior forward, and I would take him on my defensive team any day. Is the seal going down the other way? Is Malcolm Petty able to lay it in and quickly back up now for Roy. Outside on the drive. This is DeBoer again, kicks out to Chapman. Now Blake Lamb able to get it back up top. DeBoer with the take, going up strong against Hibbert. Nice job of DeBoer using that body to shield the long arms of Hibbert. Hibbert able to go glass. 11-4, the Royal advantage. Approaching the midway point here in the first. Boy, they had Malcolm Petty, couldn't get him the balls. He had a nice lane to the hoop. Inside now to Hibbert. Boy, good defense as Jones came on the help, but instead we have a foul here. Going to be called on Dakota Nalder of Roy. That was the first foul called on Nalder. Hibbert at the line. First one was good. Second attempt, back of the iron. Rebounded by Brecken Chapman. The Utah commit, as that pass is deflected off of Petty. Nalder gives it right back to DeBoer. And that pass telegraphed, picked off by Julian Blackman, going back the other way, high off the glass. It was too high. The shortest man on the court, count the bucket by Malcolm Petty as he heads to the line. The foul going to be on Chapman. Petty at the line, trying to convert the three-point play, and he does. It's an 8-3 run for Layton, putting themselves back in this ball game after they trailed 9-0. As this pass with Chapman, and then he threw it behind DeBoer. Petty brings the ball across the timeline over to Brandon Hill. Up top, boy, thinking about the three, and he traveled. It's Austin Hatch, couldn't keep his feet. Extended zone defense here by the Lancers. Drive kicked out to Jones. Now pass right through the hands of Nalder. And again, numbers for Layton. And that pass at the foot of Julian Blackman. It's going to be off of him, turned over to Roy. Jerice Blackman is checked back in. Good news for the Lancers. Good to see that he is okay after a tumble. Looked like may have hurt that ankle. The drive by Chapman, who emphatically throws it down. Count the dunk, and he'll head to the line. That'll put some wattage in the cottage. Chapman to convert the three-point play, and he does. It was almost like he's had enough of this game. Came in, and boy, what a dunk put on by Chapman. It's a next-level play. And Hibbert answers right back with the baseline jumper. Chapman tried to get there, couldn't close out. We talked about Hibbert, his ability to shoot the ball. He's a good jump shooter. In that game against Bountiful, it was a game on High School Rewind. You can go check out. Hit 2 threes in the final minute to tie things up for the Lancers. Here's a three-pointer from DeBoer. Couldn't get that one to fall. And it's Dakota Nalder who brings the ball back out for Roy. 14-10. The drive. The floater by DeBoer. That rolled out, and Jerice Blackman able to use some of that Windex coming down the other way. Now inside with Hibbert, and that pass was too tall. Now a little bit of full court pressure put on by Layton. Nalder able to dribble around Blackman. Back to Chapman. Inside with Lamb. You see the defense collapse on him, and it was Brandon Hill who was able to create the stall and help get the turnover. Cody Hobbs just checked in for Roy. Meanwhile, in for Layton comes Dallin Watts, the 6'1 sophomore. This is Watts with it now. Hibbert came across the key, instead went back up top with Blackman. Now this is Jerice with it again from a foot inside the arc. No good, and rebounded by Lamb. He's got 3 or 4 of those, quickly approaching his average, and we're just in the first. Bounce pass able to find its way to DeBoer is the take by Lamb. No good, rebounded by Chapman. And then that one was knocked out of his hands. We've got a foul here. I believe this is going to be called on Jones. No, going to be called on Blackman. That'll be his second. Jacob Payne, the 6'4 sophomore, checks in for Roy as Chapman has to head to the bench with 2 fouls. 1 minute left here in the opening quarters. Brandon Hill has it. Come near side with Watts. Trying to cross over Hobbs. Gives it to Julian Blackman. Looking for Hibbert inside. That's where it goes. Boy, beautiful find back to Jerice Blackman, who one-hands it down, and we've got a pair of dunks. 14-12 is the long pass brought in by Cody Hobbs. He's used to doing that. Of course, a member of the Roy football team. Back with Hobbs now. 30 seconds left here in the opening quarters. Going to hold it for a little bit is Chase DeBoer. DeBoer now looking to drive on Watts. Nice job by Watts, not giving up on that. Kicked back out. I think I said DeBoer. It was actually Hobbs. My apologies. Down to 6 seconds left. This is DeBoer with the ball, using the screen. Going to have to fire one up. He's got Jerice all over him. Can't get it away. That shot was gotten off, but missed. A hot start for Roy, but Layton has got right back in it. They trail 14-12 after 1. Second quarter underway. It will be Lancer ball, trailing by 2. Boy, beautiful backdoor cut by Watts, and he couldn't handle the pass. He had a wide open lay-in. Again, a little three-quarter court pressure here put on by Layton. Roy able to break it. That pass disrupted, though still able to bring it in, is Jacob Payne. And that time, Roy's staff wanted a hand check call on Watts. They didn't get it as the shot missed by Lamb, and then he picks up the foul. The second foul on Blake Lamb, so he has to head to the bench as Dakota Nalder has checked back in, and that means the 2 leading rebounders for the Royals on the bench saddled with fouls is Jerice Blackman with the strong drive, but he was fouled on the floor by Jones, and I think this is going to be Jones' second foul as well. And excuse me, I forgot to carry the 6. It was the first foul on Jones. This ball kicked outside to Jerice Blackman. Was looking to go to Watts. That pass was tall. Watts able to save it and then deflected out off of Layton, I believe. No, well, the officials are going to have to gather and talk about this one. And the officials say it was off of Roy. Stays here with Layton as Caleb Harrop checks back in for the Lancers. Jerice Blackman looking to drive on Jones. This will be Jones' second foul. I know that. Blackman made his first free throw. Therefore, they'll give him a second one right here. No good. Bringing in the rebound was Payne. 14-13. Roy still out in front as Nalder couldn't keep control of that one. Pushing it the other way is Julian Blackman, who softly goes glass. And Layton has taken their first lead of this game. It's a 15-5 run for the Lancers in about the last 7 minutes. Pass to Jones, kicks it outside to Nalder. He's going to fire the 3. That one too strong. Ball's tipped out of bounds, and it will stay here with Roy. Chapman checks back in for Roy. He's got a pair of fouls as this pass is intercepted by Julian Blackman, and Hobbs has no choice but to foul. Julian Blackman made his first free throw. That was the first foul on Cody Hobbs. Second free throw gets the friendly roll. 18 fouls on Roy, only 3 on Layton as we've got 6:22 left here in the second quarter. Nate Jones, cross-court pass intercepted by Julian Blackman and then given right back. I want to say it was DeBoer who helped create that as Lambs take. Hibbert there to block it. And now Julian Blackman passes this ball up quickly to Harrop. Hill, he's going to take the three-pointer, and Brandon Hill is on the board, and a timeout taken by Roy. 20-14, the Layton edge. Roy started the game on a 9-0 run, and Layton has returned the favor in this second quarter, an 8-0 run in the first 2 minutes as Burkott Chapman takes that one strongly to the hoop. Drive by Petty, cut off by Jones, and back up top with Jerice Blackman. Cody Hobbs having to guard him. Does a nice job as this ball over to Brandon Hill. Kick to Hibbert. That jumper from 16 is good from Mike Hibbert. And again, he is good at shooting those straight-up jump shots. I believe his second of this ball game. Hobbs back up top now with DeBoer. Again, 2-3 zone. The zone has worked pretty well for Layton here. Chapman at the free throw line. Hibbert guarding him. Look at that collapse by Petty, who came down, but Chapman able to take it strongly and again go glass. And Chapman right now keeping his Royals in it. They've needed it as the offense that started so hot has gone a little cold here in recent minutes. Back up top with Blackman. Going to cross over again from just inside the arc, and Jerice Blackman. That's a good shot. He's missed a couple of those here in the early going of this game, but that one, nothing but net. Is Chapman, he's going to fire the 3. That one missed to the left on the loose ball. They say it's out off of Jones, and it will go back to Layton. Brandon Hill up top with Hibbert. Was looking to go inside to Blackman, and Cody Hobbs, a really nice job with his post defense, able to poke that away as Chapman on the drive, and he is fouled on the floor. Foul called on Harrop. That was his fourth team foul on the Lancers as this ball is lofted into Chapman. Cross-court pass over to DeBoer. He's going to put it on the floor. In the key now with Jones, and he couldn't bring that pass in. Malcolm Petty wisely pulls up as Roy was sending guys back. No one had the other side, and there is Harrop to lay it in, and the foul on Cody Hobbs. Second foul on Hobbs as Caleb Harrop at the line to try to convert the three-point play for Layton, and he can't do it. Jones with the rebound. He's going to throw this one up to Lamb quickly. Back was Hill, and they say that's all ball. It'll stay here with Roy, but you see the tenacity and sheer stick-to-itiveness of Brandon Hill. Nice job by Hill, just not giving up and fouling easily. As this inbounds play was lofted, Harrop able to break it up. Petty will lay it in. And it's a 10-point Layton advantage, 28-18, as we are just over midway through this second quarter. This ball thrown over to Hobbs. He's going to try the three-pointer. That one left short, rebounded by Hibbert. Up ahead to Petty. Numbers. Over to Jerice Blackman, and this is going to be a block on Cody Hobbs. And his third foul, as the Roy faithful cannot believe it. Blackman to the line to shoot two. Blackman able to make both free throws. 30-18. This is DeBoer with it. It's coming out is Harrop to initiate the 5-second. Boy, look at this defense by Layton as Petty stepping out. Chapman with some nice hesitation. Spin move inside. No shot as they call the foul on the floor. There's going to be a block called on Hibbert. Ball thrown into Nalder, who takes the jumper from the elbow, and Dakota Nalder with the first non-Chapman points of the second quarter for Roy. Here's Jerice Blackman on the take, going glass, count the bucket, the foul on Chapman, and Blackman to the line to convert the three-point play. Chapman on the bench now with 3 fouls as Jerice Blackman at the line, and there are a lot of really good juniors in the state of Utah playing basketball. Jerice Blackman is my favorite. Converts a three-point play, 33-20. Layton out in front. And let me clarify, I mean, absolutely nothing in terms of rooting for him, but he is just a heck of a good player. As Lamb inside, a foul going to be called on Hill, and a sarcastic cheer from the Roy faithful. There's a second foul on Brandon Hill. Lamb made his first free throw. Second attempt is long and rebounded by Blackman. 33-21, 2.5 minutes left here in the opening half. Petty dribbles it far side, now back up top with Brandon Hill. Screen was set by Blackman, though Hill elected not to take the shot. Now Jerice going to pull up again from just inside the arc. That one was left short, and skying for the board was Dakota Nalder. Brings it back up the floor quickly. Boy, nice hesitation move. Nalder to the hoop, couldn't get it to fall, but he'll go to the line for two. Second foul on Julian Blackman as Dallin Watts checks back in, as does Austin Hatch for the Lancers. Second attempt on the free throw, no good. 33-22. Lancers out in front. Caleb Harrop up top, near side now with Watts. He's going to try the three-pointer, and the sophomore nets the three. First bucket of the game for Dallin Watts. Boy, and that time Nalder lost his footing as this ball is out off of Layton. We'll stay here with Roy. Thrown into the backcourt for Chase DeBoer. You mentioned DeBoer, second on the team in scoring coming in. They could really use some points from him right now as Chapman on the bench. Dakota Nalder being hassled by Petty, turns it over. Numbers the other way. Petty with the behind-the-back pass, and that one broken up by Roy. And a nice job saving what would have been a highlight play. Petty up top to Watts, now near side. Boy, no one came over, and this is going to be a tripping call called on Lamb, and that should be the third, I believe, on Lamb. Hatch missed his first free throw. It was the third foul on Lamb as he heads to the bench. Hamer and Peleis both check in for Roy. His second free throw missed, possession saved. Petty with the quick three, no good. Rebounded by Jerice Blackman, and he traveled in the key. Took an extra hop. And right now, Roy having to go deep into the bench is Lamb, Chapman, and Hobbs all with 3 fouls. This ball into Peleis, and he draws contact. He'll go to the line. Peleis missed his first free throw. Second attempt here is no good. A little more air under those, and both of those are good. The straight line hit the rim and came right off. Interesting note about Paylais. Last time we did a Roy game, of course, versus Davis. This ball stolen by Nate Jones. Layton not going to catch him, and Nate Jones will throw that one down. And again, a little bit of emotion back into the stadium now as a big second quarter for Layton has built up a double-digit lead. The students for Roy have been quiet here as of late. Nice pass by Watts, able to find Hatch along the baseline to lay it in. Boy, how about the vision by the young sophomore? That's impressive right there. Now this is Hamer back up top with DeBoer. Down to 10 seconds as DeBoer looking to drive. Well, it looked like he wanted to outlet it, but no man was there, so he laid it in, got the home court roll. Down to 2 seconds left, the ball thrown behind Blackman, and then a foul on Jones. And going to the line to shoot with no time left will be Caleb Harrop to shoot two. There was no time left when the foul occurred, so that's why the key is empty. At the line is Caleb Harrop. He made his first free throw, second attempt. No pressure as we head to the locker room. It's good. The halftime score, the Layton Lancers, a big second quarter, take a 40-26 lead into the locker room. Ready to start the second half. It will be Roy basketball, and boy, what an incredible first half we had between these two. Is a ginormous second quarter for Layton. A 28-12 scoring advantage. Built up a 14-point lead as Chapman there able to chip into it. He's playing with 3 fouls, as is Blake Lamb right now. The drive by Blackman pulls up, and Jarice Blackman, he got off to a rough start. Missed his first couple jumpers. Had that injury that didn't look good initially, but he has been absolutely stellar since then. As Dakota Nalder going to try to match it, and he's able to do so. Well, Nalder has that long ball capability. He hit a 3 at the horn against Davis to make it a 1-point game. It was basically worthless points, as didn't have any bearing on the outcome of the game, but he's got some range. So does Brandon Hill, though that one hit the iron, and Bricott Chapman took the board. And then tried to go behind his back. Couldn't get it. As Petty over to Blackman. Working on Chapman. Kicked outside to Hill. Had a foot across the line, so that is just a 2-point shot. 44-30 for the Lancers. Over with Nalder, back up top now to DeBoer. And again, we were talking about it briefly in that first half. DeBoer has been quiet offensively today. Roy could use him as the drive by Lamb, blocked by Hibbert. Blackman comes up with it. You see the length of Layton. So big between Hibbert at 6'9", Blackman at 6'7". As this ball was a little beyond Hibbert, he couldn't bring it in. It's a 14-point deficit right now, but as we mentioned in our open, this is a Roy team that has come back from behind before. They'll have to do so again here today. Layton staying in that zone. It's led to a lot of turnovers, a lot of extra possessions for the Lancers. As Blake Lamb able to get it to Chapman along the baseline. Boy, what a nice job by Hibbert. Just closed it off. Nowhere for Chapman to go. Gets it back and reverse scoops it up and in. You can see just so difficult to defend. Even at 6'9", Chapman able to get that shot off. Of course, he's 6'9" as well. Has a bright future ahead of him up on the hill, committed to Coach Kraskowiak up at the University of Utah. Long three-pointer, no good. Rebound to Blake Lamb. Had several of those in the first quarter. Since then, when he had the fouls, not so many as he saw time on the bench. Nalder able to lay it in, and the deficit down to 10. Now here's Jarice Blackman. Chapman defending him. Little step back. Couldn't get the shot off as Chapman had it guarded well. Petty up top. Hibbert with a nice pump fake from the elbow. Mike Hibbert. And a quick timeout taken by Layton as they hold a 12-point advantage. Layton extending that pressure. Is DeBoer able to dribble around. A cheapo foul going to be called here against Caleb Harrop. Dakota Nalder gets the inbound. Cross-court pass over to Chapman. He's going to fire the three, and that one too long. As the ball bounces to Malcolm Petty, and Chapman, as good as he has been today, has struggled from beyond the arc. Blackman trying to show him how it's done. Couldn't get it done either. Nalder going to bring the ball up the floor. Was looking to go inside. That ball is going to be off of Blackman. We'll stay here with Roy. Lofted into Chapman. Looking to go up top. Petty was looking steal all the way. Though it still found its intended target of Lamb. This ball out off of Hill. Jones in the corner trying to pass up for Nalder. Pass was too tall. Make sure your seat backs are in their upright position as Blackman takes off for another one. And then stolen by Hill again. He's trying to get it to Jones for the baseline drive to the hoop. And there's Lamb to create the steal, going back for Roy. Ball inbounded in the front court to Jones. Now gets it over to DeBoer. DeBoer trying to get around Julian Blackman in the post with Jones back up top. Boy, there's Chapman finding space in the key. Goes up strong, and Chapman able to use glass again. Again, Roy right now in between that 10 and 14-point deficit. Layton will not let them get any closer. As Hibbert trying to establish post positioning. Now it's back up top with Hibbert looking to drive on Chapman. Nothing there. Hill's going to try for three. That one rims out on him. And Jones able to gather the board that was originally tipped by Chapman. Outside to Hobbs. Hobbs with a little juke. Drive was cut off well by Hill. Jones. Easy little shot there for Nate Jones. And that deficit now to 10. Three minutes left here in what's been a fast and exciting third quarter. Top with Hibbert, outside now, Julian Blackman. Only one foul in this third quarter. That was called on the Lancers. Cross-court pass to Petty, extra pass now back to Petty for three, and that one was aligned. Just hit the front of the iron as Julian Blackman going for the board, hit the wood. Alley-oop for Chapman, and that one was too tall. And then Cody Hobbs, another ball come to him but couldn't complete it. Over to Blackman, and now getting a little sloppy both ways. Ahead to Chapman, and that ball was too long. This will be Julian Blackman who brings the ball across the timeline. Roy switches. Watts is going up top for Blackman, and then a foul here has turned it over. Going to be called on Dallin Watts. Second foul on Watts. There's two team fouls for Layton in this second half. No team fouls for Roy, meanwhile, 6 minutes in. He's looking to get the ball to Lamb, and boy, Julian Blackman wouldn't let him. Cody Hobbs crosses over on the drive, and a blocking call called on Hibbert on the shot by Cody Hobbs. Third foul on Hibbert. He stays in the game. Hobbs at the line makes them both. 48-40. Roy is down by 14 at the half. Now trail by 8. Minute and a half left. Boy, beautiful find by Julian Blackman, and how about Austin Hatch, who's able to dunk it. Gave a nice juke one way, cut back to the hoop. No one was there on the backside, and Hatch able to throw it down. Now Cody Hobbs looking to drive, again attacking Hibbert, and that time it's going to be an offensive call on Cody Hobbs, his fourth. Malcolm Petty checks back in as Dallin Watts will head to the bench for a breather. Inside to Jarice Blackman, who's able to get that one over Chapman. The lead back up to 12 as hit the 1 minute mark here in the third. Cody Hobbs able to softly float that one in. No contact that time between he and Hibbert, as those two have become good friends over the last 3 possessions. Petty, how about that? Was trying to give it back to Hibbert. Instead, it was broken up by Roy. Hobbs able to gather that one in. Will pass out to Chapman. Back with Hobbs now. He's got some space as Jones was able to block out Blackman. Missed it, but Blake Lamb then couldn't clean it up. Had it. That one just came off the rim. 20 seconds left. 10-point lead for Layton. As Petty holding it near midcourt. Well, dribbling it near midcourt. Trying to take some time off. Holding for the last possession here is now this is Julian. Coming around the screen, back to Petty. Clock is down to 5 seconds. Cody Hobbs comes out, able to deflect and break it up, and then a foul call on Malcolm Petty. Great defense by Cody Hobbs. Able to eliminate the opportunity in the corner. 3-pointer from DeBoer at the horn that rims out, and it's been that kind of day for Roy. Though down by 14.5, they trail 52-42 heading to the fourth. 8 minutes away from a victor, the Layton Lancers leading 52-42 over the Roy Royals. Roy trying to chip away at this lead as we've got we had a whistle away from the ball. I'm not sure who this is going to go on. Foul called away from the ball on Chapman. That is number 4 on Brakat Chapman in the corner. Julian Blackman going to shoot the 3. That one was missed. And then a foul on Jarice on the rebound. Roy able to get the ball up into the front court. Lofted over for Chapman. And right now the athleticism of Layton is leading to turnovers for Roy as Julian Blackman able to finish that one off. Seeing a lot of passes that have been off target, and it's due to a lot of length by the Lancers. Again, that one was high, except Jones was able to corral it as Blake Lamb drives to the hoop. Hibbert may have gotten a piece of that one. Either way, comes up with the board as Malcolm Petty pushes it the other way, kicks outside. Good ball movement over to Hibbert. Thought about the 3. Instead, it will be Julian Blackman who launches it. That one no good. Hobbs with the board. Throws this one up to DeBoer. DeBoer now looking to drive with the reverse, and he is fouled. And he will head to the line. Second foul on Jarice Blackman. It was a 16 foul, so Roy going to be shooting free throws from here on out. As at the line, DeBoer missed his first one, second one as well. Mentioned Roy's last game was at Classic against the Davis Darts. That was nearly 2.5 weeks ago. Wonder if there's a little bit of rust in the Royals. With their hot start, you wouldn't have thought so, but the shots have been tough sledding today for Roy. Coming in averaging over 60 points per game, only at 42. We've got 6.5 left to play. Jarice Blackman able to dribble through, attacks the hoop, and Chapman had to lay off as he has 4 fouls. Blackman knew it, went right at him, able to go glass. Boy, and Chapman that time again. Hibbert had set up, ready to draw the offensive foul. It made Chapman move and created the tough shot. Up top now with Malcolm Petty. Hibbert in the post. Jones overplayed it. Hibbert to throw it down. And Hibbert gets in on the dunking fun. It's been all cookies and milk for Layton today. A lot of sweetness and a lot of dunks. And an over a back call as again that athleticism leads to a bad pass. Things are starting to look bleak for Roy. They trail by 16, 5.5 minutes left. The student section trying to get the Royals going here. Petty kicks out to Julian Blackman. Out to Jarice. Lamb guarding him. Hibbert gives it right back to Jarice, and there is Chapman with the dunk. And then a foul here as Lamb brought in the rebound, and the foul going to be called on Hatch. At the line, first free throw, no good. Ball batted around, it's out of bounds, off of Blackman. Stays here with Roy. Jones up top. Layton able to recover quickly. You see the quickness defensively. Back to DeBoer for three. No good. Jones able to gather in the rebound. Back to Chapman working against Hibbert. And that shot was long as he was expecting contact and overcompensated. This ball ruled out off of Layton. Chapman working hard in the post. Officials not rewarding him with any foul call there. This ball finds its way back to Lamb. Going up again. Could have been a body call on Hibbert. Nothing there as Lamb able to lay it in. Officials letting him play in the post. Again, some extended pressure. That ball deflected out by Lamb. Petty with a little hesitation. Gave him a step and he goes high off the glass. And Malcolm Petty, only 5'10". You see how good he is running the point. Very intelligent player. He creates the strip there against DeBoer. Hibbert able to outlet it to Blackman. Back up top with Hibbert.
Let's go!
Midway through this fourth quarter. Here's Austin Hatch. Hands back off to Petty. Dribbling around DeBoer.
Let's go!
Hibbert working the post against Jones. And good defense by Jones, just staying straight up. Layton wanted a foul call, but they haven't been giving him on the other end. They don't give it there. As Blake Lamb gets good positioning inside, able to lay it in.
Let's go!
Layton able to break that pressure pretty easily. Hatch back up top. Blackman. Pass was intended for Petty. They were both there. Petty looking to drive. Boy, look at Hibbert just seal off Chapman. Nothing Chapman could do, and it's not going to count in the book, but that's basically an assist to Hibbert. Really nice job of sealing off the lane as Chapman just sidesteps Hibbert and lays it in. And then that ball broken up. Lamb ends up with it. Going to give it up ahead to Jones, and that's going to be a blocking call on Petty. Jones will head to the line to shoot two. Nalder comes back on for Roy as Brandon Hill back on for Layton. First free throw was good from Nate Jones. Second attempt good as well. Second foul on Malcolm Petty. 8th team foul. That ball, boy, dangerous pass. Julian Blackman able to bring it in. Gonna loft that up ahead. He was looking to alley-oop it, but wasn't very close. Jerice Blackman gave him a look like, I can jump, but not that high. Jones was trying to give it down, and that ball deflected by Julian Blackman. Had Petty up ahead, but couldn't find him. Now over to Hibbert, back with Blackman. Brandon Hill with it now. Back to Julian, and sophomore guard seeing a little more playing time these days. Covered Layton against Bountiful, and he came in the game, but he's had a lot of minutes here today. Done a really nice job. There's a turnover here. No, it's going to stay here with Layton out off of Roy. Able to inbound it to Petty. No, Nalder is tightly guarding him. Minute 45 left here in the contest. In the corner, we've got a timeout taken by Coach Miller of the Lancers. Layton possession coming out of their own timeout. Petty with it. Blackman trying to post up Lamb, able to do so. Gets the help over to Hibbert. Now back to Julian Blackman. See the trap coming. That ball thrown away. Oh, they say it was deflected. Oh, okay, a late whistle. Appeared to be pretty obvious. Inbounded to Chapman. Blackman guarding him. Chapman trying to drive around, and a call here on Jerice Blackman. Chapman at the line, shooting 1-1. That was the third foul on Jerice Blackman. First free throw is no good, and it's Blackman who tracks it down. And Burkott able to chip it away from behind. up ahead to Nate Jones. And boy, he thought he was looking for a foul. No call coming, and then a foul called here. And if this is on Chapman, that's going to be 5. Foul was actually called on Hobbs. It was his 5th, so he is done. Hit the 1 minute mark left in this game. 62-50 Layton. That lead built up in the second quarter, and they've maintained it since then. As Hibbert on the drive, and he is fouled from behind. I called that foul called on Lamb. It was his 4th. It's Chapman, as he wisely threw his arms up there, didn't want to pick up his 5th. Oh, here's Nalder, who will foul Blackman. Jones comes up to pressure, though. Petty able to get it over to Hill. Now Blackman with it, dribbles out. Going to try to spin around Lamb, couldn't do it. Now he's just going to look to drive. The kick out, and he is fouled. I believe it's going to be on Jones. 4th foul on Jones. This ball inbounded to Petty in the corner. Works its way around to Blackman. He gets fouled by Payne. Blackman will go to the line to shoot 1-1. Both free throws good for Blackman as Alex Price, Boston Armitstead, and Matt Day all check in for Layton. This ball turned over again. And given right back. And it'll be Nalder who goes to lay it in. And he'll foul Layton's Boston Armitstead. Armitstead shooting 1-1. The first free throw's no good. Rebounded by Chapman. 10 seconds left. This ball thrown across. Payne couldn't keep it in. Hill comes up with it. And he'll just back it out. Hold on the ball. The horn will sound. And the Layton Lancers have come to Roy. Picked up a big 64-52 victory over the Royals. Again, our final score here from Roy High School. The Layton Lancers 64, the Roy Royals 52. And what an intriguing game this was. We talked about, of course, Chapman and Blackman, the 2 stars for their respective teams, and the need for their supporting cast to really show up today. Out of the gates, it was the supporting cast of Roy that looked so good early on. Lamb and Jones helped the Roy Royals get out to a 9-0 start in this one. It looked like Roy, boy, they were fired up to play here tonight, but give a lot of credit to the Layton Lancers refusing to lay down and go into the night. They really gritted out a tough first quarter, trailed 14-12 after 1, and then in the start of the second, it would be the Layton Lancers who returned the favor. Start off on an 8-0 run. It got as big as 15-4 for the Layton Lancers. They would build up a 40-26 lead going into the break, and they really did it behind good shooting. Jerice Blackman played very, very well in that second quarter. Petty had a fantastic first half. Blackman, we didn't mention, had that twisted ankle or whatever it was, and Petty played fantastic. He was the offense while Blackman was out, but once he came back, Jerice Blackman made it known that he has a bright future ahead of him. Everyone here at Roy High saw that. And also, leading up to that, a lot of turnovers. You saw the length and the athleticism of the Layton Lancers really provide problems for the Roy Royals. Tried to overcompensate. You saw a lot of passes that were out in front of guys, were behind guys, maybe too high, trying to get it around the extended arms of this Layton defense. And that would really be the story here in this one. It was a 14-point lead at half. That lead would be reduced to as little as 8 in the second half, but Roy would never get closer. As the Layton Lancers, every time Roy made a bit of a push, they would come back, and it would be Blackman or Hill or Petty. Those guys all had very fantastic days for the Layton Lancers in this 12-point victory. We mentioned this was the last non-region game for the Lancers. They look ready for Region 1 play, and they certainly look to be a contender and a team to watch for up in Region 1. Meanwhile, for the Roy Royals, they now fall to 6-3 on the season. They have one more non-region game. That will be against the Fremont Silverwolves, a little bit of a region rivalry, although that game will take place down in Salt Lake City at a tournament. Still a few things that I'm sure Roy would like to get worked out, ironed out before region play begins. But this Roy team with Burkott Chapman, you have to figure it was a tough shooting night for Chapman, for Lamb. Cody Hobbs never really got going. It was a tough night offensively for the Royals. And sometimes you have those. You have to figure that's probably not going to be the case week in, week out. Probably still going to be a very, very tough team in Region 5. But tonight, clearly not their night as they fall at home to the Layton Lancers 64-52. And that's going to do it for our coverage of this event on High School Rewind. For Vince Francis, my name is Dane Stewart. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.